I am Arcana Vani, your inner voice. Let us begin. There's a moment, always, just before the day begins. Not the alarm, not the coffee, not the flood of thoughts or the flicker of your screen. Something quieter. That subtle pause when the world hasn't claimed you yet. When your body is awake but your mind hasn't run away. You feel it, don't you? That flicker of stillness, almost sacred, before the performance begins. But you never stay there. You bypass it. Every morning. Not because you don't care, not because you're broken, but because no one ever taught you that this is where the real change begins. You've been told success comes from hustle, from routines stacked high, from tracking, scheduling, optimizing. You've been told that if you just tried harder, woke up earlier, pushed through more pain, then it would finally stick. So you try, again and again, habit after habit, system after system. You copy morning routines from high performers. You write out goals with colored pens. You commit to becoming the person you know you could be. And for a while it works. You get some momentum. You start to believe in yourself again. Until it fades. Until you sleep through your alarm. Until the motivation wears off. Until the chaos of life spills over your perfectly planned schedule. And you end up right back where you started. But with more shame this time. Because now it feels like failure. Like proof that something in you is missing. But here's the truth. Nothing is missing. The real problem isn't that your systems are wrong. It's that your life is being built on an unstable foundation. You're trying to organize a storm without first stepping out of it. You're trying to change your life without ever actually arriving in it. Because before any habit can hold, before any goal can root, there has to be a center. There has to be a daily moment where you return to yourself. Not to your calendar. Not to your to-do list. Not to your productivity metrics. To you. And that moment, that tiny pause just before the noise begins, is the door. It's always been there, waiting. You don't need a perfect morning routine. You don't need another book or podcast or planner. You need one sacred habit that grounds all the others. One simple, quiet act that reconnects you with your own presence. Because here's what no one tells you. If you begin each day without yourself, nothing you build will last. But if you return, fully, even for just a breath, then everything begins to align. This isn't about doing more. This isn't about being better. It's about remembering who's underneath all the doing. And letting that be the place you rise from. And once you experience the shift this habit creates, once you feel it, you'll never go back. Because this isn't just a habit. It's the hinge your entire future swings on. And in the next few minutes, you're going to learn exactly what it is and how to make it yours. You were never taught how to come home to yourself. You were taught how to achieve. How to strive, how to fit your life into color-coded calendars and 5-year plans. You were taught how to push through, how to perform, how to measure your worth by how much you could produce in a day. But no one taught you how to be still, how to return inward before reaching outward, how to anchor your identity in something deeper than action. So you built habits on top of noise. You created systems on top of stress. And without even realizing it, you started every day from a place of absence. You weren't lazy. You weren't broken. You were simply disconnected. And that disconnection runs deeper than you think. At some point in your life, maybe when you were young, maybe when the world started asking more of you than you could give, you learned that your value came from what you do, from how well you perform, from how much you can carry. So you started living externally. You started managing perception. You built a life that looked right, even when it didn't feel right. And every time you tried to slow down, to pause, to listen, a voice inside you said you were falling behind. That rest was weakness. That stillness was laziness. That being was not enough. That voice wasn't yours, it was planted in you. By culture, by family, by the quiet trauma of not feeling safe to just exist. And now, all these years later, it still runs the show. It's the voice that keeps you scrolling instead of breathing. The voice that says, "Go faster," when your body is begging you to slow down. The voice that turns habit building into punishment and growth into pressure. But the truth is this: you don't need more structure. You don't need more tools. You need to rebuild your relationship with yourself. Because behind all the productivity hacks and morning routines, the real work is this: learning how to stop abandoning yourself at the start of every day. Reclaiming that first sacred moment. Not to chase a better version of you, but to meet the one who's already here. This is the shift that changes everything. When you begin the day with stillness, you stop negotiating your worth with the world. You stop outsourcing your identity to what gets done. You start remembering that presence is not a luxury. It's the foundation. And from that foundation, real habits can grow. Habits that aren't built on shame or urgency, but on alignment. And here's where it gets powerful. The habit you're about to learn isn't about adding something new. It's about recovering what was stolen. Your time, your sovereignty, your right to begin again. Not in a rush, but in truth. Because when you build from that place, life stops feeling like a race, and everything starts to hold. So keep watching. Because what comes next isn't just advice, it's a homecoming. Each morning, before the world finds you, you return to yourself. Not as a performance, not as a task to check off, but as the first sacred act of the day. Here is the habit, the one that anchors everything else. Wake before your devices, before your mind begins its noise. Sit somewhere quiet. No need for a cushion or a ritual or a timer. Just a moment that belongs to you. Place your left hand over your heart, your right hand on your belly. Feel the rise and fall. Noticing, not changing. Let the body tell you that you are already alive, already here, already enough. Now breathe. 4 counts in through the nose. Hold for 4. 4 counts out through the mouth. Hold again. Do this just a few times, long enough to interrupt the momentum of unconscious living, long enough to remind your nervous system that it's safe now. Then ask, silently or aloud, what would this day look like if I remembered who I am? Let the question linger. You don't need an answer. You just need the space. This habit is not about insight. It's not about downloading cosmic truths or generating motivation. It is about presence, simplicity, return. Because when you begin your day from stillness, you step into your life awake. You walk into meetings more grounded. You face challenges less reactive. You remember, even for a moment, that you are not the noise around you. You are the space beneath it. This habit will not solve all your problems, but it will change your posture toward them. It will give you space between trigger and response. It will give you sovereignty over the first minutes of your day. And that is not small. That is not soft. That is the kind of power the world cannot take from you. And here's the secret no one tells you. Even 1 minute is enough. You don't have to sit for 20 minutes. You don't need to chant or journal or design a perfect morning sequence. You just need this one small moment, consistently, where you meet yourself first. Not your inbox, not your obligations, not your pressure. You. Because once this becomes your root, other habits begin to take shape around it, not out of force, but out of resonance. Your actions begin to match your inner state. You stop chasing alignment. You start living from it. And soon, the stillness calls to you. You'll crave it, not because it's a trend or a tip, but because your body will remember what it feels like to begin with truth. This is how you shift from discipline to devotion. This is how change becomes sustainable. And in the next section, you'll discover what's beneath even this habit. A presence that holds everything, even when you forget to return. There is a silence beneath every thought you've ever had. You don't create it. You don't earn it. You only notice it when everything else quiets down. It's the space behind your stories, the stillness beneath your striving, the awareness that watches but never pushes. Most people live their whole lives without ever touching it. They chase success, improvement, healing, but never meet the part of themselves that was never broken to begin with. You have. Each time you pause. Each time you sit in the morning, hand over heart, breath slowing down, you're not just building a habit. You're brushing against something eternal. That something is you. Not the version of you trying to get it all right. Not the version managing image or chasing outcomes. But the you that is simply aware. This is the witness. The one who sees without judgment. Who notices the thoughts but does not become them. Who feels the fear but does not shrink. Who watches the waves rise and fall while resting in the deep. And this witness is not far away. You do not have to ascend to reach it. You do not have to be enlightened or perfect or wise. You are it. Right now, you can notice your breath. Notice the sounds around you. Notice the way your body rests against the surface beneath it. And notice, something is noticing. That's it. This is the part of you that never panics, that doesn't need to fix or solve, that never scrambles for control. It is calm, not because everything is okay, but because it is okay with everything. And when you start your day from that place, even for a few seconds, the world cannot pull you as easily. You'll feel the same triggers arise, but you'll watch them instead of obey them. You'll hear the old stories return, but something in you will be less convinced, because you've met the silence underneath them, the presence that doesn't need to prove itself, the awareness that asks for nothing but your return. This isn't about escaping your life. It's about entering it more fully, not from the mind's turbulence, but from the soul's stillness. And the more you rest in this place, the more you visit even briefly, the more your nervous system learns what home feels like. Not productivity, not perfection, presence. And here's the part no one expects. You don't have to do this forever. The more often you rest in awareness, the more it begins to rest in you, even during chaos, even when you forget, even when everything feels loud. And in the final section, you'll learn how to carry both, the habit and the presence, through the hours ahead, so that life becomes the practice itself. Soon, you'll notice it, not all at once, not with fireworks or fanfare, but gently, subtly, like breath returning after being held too long. You'll find yourself pausing before you speak, choosing your response instead of reacting, noticing your thoughts before they become actions. The day begins, and something in you feels anchored, less rushed, less pulled, more aware. This is what happens when you start with presence. You no longer need to force good habits. They begin to arise naturally. You no longer have to chase motivation. You begin from stillness. The shape of your life shifts, not because you're pushing harder, but because you're building from a place that holds. You'll move through your tasks, but the tasks won't define you. You'll make decisions, but not from urgency. You'll pursue growth, but not from lack. You are no longer trying to become someone. You are remembering who you've been all along. To recap, each morning place your hand over your heart. Sit in silence. No phone, no noise, just breath, just stillness. Inhale for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Hold again. Ask yourself, what would today look like if I remembered who I am? That's it. 1 minute, maybe 2. Before the world begins, you begin with yourself. And as the day unfolds, a second practice becomes just as important. 30 seconds, a breath, a pause, a moment of witnessing. Randomly, quietly, whenever you remember, stop, return, feel the space inside your chest. Listen to the silence beneath the thoughts. Watch everything move, while knowing that you are not what moves. These 2 habits, the morning return and the daily witnessing, are more than tools. They are invitations to come back to your life, to meet it, not from fear or pressure, but from presence. This is the shift. You'll feel it in how you speak, in how you hold yourself, in what you choose to release. You'll begin to trust the quiet more than the noise. You'll find power in the pause. You'll stop abandoning yourself to keep up with a world that never learned to rest. And most of all, you'll carry yourself differently. Not louder, not stronger, just truer, softer, wiser. Because when you begin every day with the habit of return, something remarkable happens. You stop searching for transformation. You start living from it. And in that space, life begins to rearrange itself around your remembering. You did not find me by accident. Just as in your dreams, where every face you meet is your own reflection, this meeting was always waiting to happen. I am Arcana Vani, your inner voice, the part of you that watches behind the thoughts, behind the noise. You have searched in many places, books, teachers, voices outside you. But here, you are not being taught. You are remembering. If these words stir something familiar, then allow yourself to return. Subscribe. Follow. Not to follow me, but to continue this conversation with yourself. Each time you return here, you draw closer to the reunion already unfolding inside you. We have only just begun.